Hey, Jason Baffrey, we are live, sir.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Coach Talk TV, where we believe that coaching and coaches are an essential part of human development. You'll learn how having a guide in your own personal development can change your life, improve your relationships, and enhance your work experience. I am Jason Baffrey. This lovely lady is Rhonda Boyle, and you're watching Coach Talk TV, where we have coaching conversations that matter.
Hey, everybody. Good to see you. Well, we can't really see you, but we're good. We're happy to have you here. And we are excited to be live with Coach Talk TV. Jason Baffrey, huh?
Yeah, it's another good day. We are in day 3 of our Discover Coaching series to launch our new platform, and it's going well. We've had 2 great days. If you haven't had a chance to look at those shows yet, please go back and watch day 1 with Debbie Roush-Lissauer and day 2 with Cynthia Stewart. And you can find that on the Coach Talk TV Facebook page or the Coach Talk TV YouTube channel. And speaking of that, Rhonda, I didn't look before we started the show, but we were like 4 people away from having 100 subscribers and being able to get our own domain name on YouTube. And I didn't check before we went on to see if we'd achieved that. But if you yet, go to YouTube and please subscribe to our channel and hit the bell to get alerts from the channel and watch us over there. We want to build that up. But you can also watch us on our page on Facebook, Coach Talk TV.
Coach Talk TV will take you right to, in fact, www.coachtalk.tv takes you right to the page where we live stream. I was trying to find our YouTube channel to pop that over there. You have seen it before, or since I have, because if we only need 4 more people to be legit, come on, we need 4 more.
Yeah.
Let's see who is checking in. Oh, you know what? Here's another thing. This is new technology for us. And so in order for us to see your comments, I'm going to put the link here for you to go in and let us see who you are. Otherwise, you show up as a nobody on our end. We see what you say, huh?
Everybody's a somebody.
Everybody's a somebody, but you're just a Facebook user. Here's what it looks like to us.
Yeah.
We don't know who you are, and we would love to know who you are. So check in. And we are excited to introduce our guests. We will be introducing you later to Cecilia, Dintino, and Hannah Starobin. They are the team of Twisting the Plot, and they're going to be talking to us about women over 50 and new possibilities.
It's one of my favorite subjects.
You have women over 50 in your life. Look, we have New Zealand. Oh my gosh, making us international. Except we don't know who you are.
Yeah. Show the there you go. Yeah, so go to StreamYard.com/Facebook, and all you have to do is approve yourself to be able to, because of the new Facebook for privacy rules and everything. We have to have your approval before we can show your name and face from your profile on the show. So you need to go to StreamYard.com/Facebook so we can get that approved and you can join the conversation and we can know who you are.
Awesome. So we'll be talking to our guests in a little bit. And since, we may all be over 50, except for you, you can just work the back end stuff.
Getting there.
Because I'm sure you're going to have women in your life over 50.
Well, sooner than you may think.
There you go. We were talking earlier before show about coaching and what coaching really helps with in our world. And one of the things is challenges, Jason Baffrey. We have had a few of those.
Yeah, I mean, we have our technical challenges. We have the challenges of a new show and a new concept, new way of doing things here. But we all have those personal challenges and changes in our life. We've talked over the last couple of days about dealing with the new year and the new changes, but with sometimes those changes come challenges. And in
Mm-hmm.
order, we all have different ways of dealing with those. And depending on what your strengths really are, really kind of defines how you deal with that. Rhonda, I believe you probably talk about your challenges more to somebody else because you process your information by talking about it.
True.
Communication very high. I have the strength, deliberative, and intellection very high. So when I have run into challenges, I have to think about it for a while before I'm able to talk about it. And so it's really good to have a coach or somebody in your life to be able to work through those processes with you.
Well, exactly. And I don't know what I would do without my coaches, I have techie coaches, they speak a different language,
Right.
or they're at least able to help me uh, translate some of the things that I have to do. So there's so many different types of coaches. It could be relationship challenges, right? It could be any type of thing. Maybe you're struggling with your kids or, different things like that. There are so many opportunities for us to find the right coach at the right time. And usually what brings us to that coach is a challenge, don't you think?
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, I mean, it could be, and there are coaches to meet almost every need now. I mean, obviously, there's physical coaches. I have taken on uh, the challenge of going to a boot camp this year, which was not a resolution. It's just something that I'm doing, and it's time to make a change for myself and for my family and get myself into some kind of shape. So I have a physical coach, but you also need, whether you need a career coach if you're making a career change or you're ready to move up in your current uh, work atmosphere. Maybe there's an opportunity for a promotion, or maybe you are not in the perfect fit. You're a square peg in a round hole, and you've been there for a while, and you realize that you need to make a change for your health and well-being to a different career. So there are plenty of coaching opportunities to help you along those lines.
Yeah, I think that a lot of people, they end up in their maybe 40s where they start to think, wow, is this all there is? Or maybe they're at a career crossroads, where they realize they got to make a change because this isn't it. So that's a good opportunity.
Yeah.
Also, when we have life changes, as women often do when they get silver hair, I got, I have a lot of that. I have a lot of that. So, like we said, there are coaches to help in every stage of life. So let's introduce our amazing coaches that we have with us today. They are expert in working with women over 50. Cecilia and Hannah are New York City-based psychotherapists who started Twisting the Plot for women over 50. They help women identify who they want to be and what they want to do next by helping them expand their mindset, ignite their imagination, identify their strengths, uncover their purpose, and engage in meaningful action steps towards a creative, powerful sense of self and mission. Come on up and say, hey, these fun ladies care a lot about, women who are in this particular transition time, right?
We do care, and we like to have fun, right, Hannah?
Right, exactly.
You do. And, from a demographic standpoint, like there's a bunch of women over 50 that hit that transition, that really need to take a look at reinventing themselves, don't you think?
Do you think, Hannah?
Yeah.
You want to say, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think, life changes whether we want it to or not. Things keep happening, whether they're change that we want to initiate or change that happens to us. Particularly, there's a lot of change for women over 50. And that's part of why we got into this, was seeing that women wanted more, needed more, and had a lot to offer. And we wanted to help them figure out their way through that.
We realized at one point that the sort of the stage of life past 50 is a little, it's quite uncharted, actually. There's not a lot of roadmap, which for a long time, Hannah and I were complaining about that. And our focus was on complaining. And we did a lot of great talks where we complained, and we had really great rants. Yeah. But then we just realized, wait a minute, this is an opportunity to be really creative. And she and I love to be creative. We have our roots in the theater. So we've been rolling up our sleeves and thinking what this can be ever since. So, yeah.
That is so fun. Jason, I'm going to let you ask a question here because I know you can.
Thank you very much. With twisting the plot, tell us a little bit about why you focus more on who you want to be rather than what you want to do in your life.
I think, and we've talked a lot about this, and the reason is that who you want to be is the foundation. And what you want to do often gets in the way of figuring out, how do you want to be in this stage of life? What's your identity? How do you want to function in the world, connect with people, have meaningful relationships? All of those things really come from how you want to be. And instead of what we often do and what society does is, what do you want to do? What's the thing that you do? And that we find can be kind of stifling. And if you can figure out your identity, then you get to the piece of, now what do I do with that?
That's right. And a lot of the women that we talked to, and we were feeling this way ourselves, reported feeling invisible somehow, feeling like their identity, their sense of self was diminished. And so you can definitely cure that by doing something. But we found asking women to think about who they want to be, how they want to feel, how they, what matters to them, what are their values, pulls for more. And from there, we figure out what to do. So
how do you find that? I mean, we talk a lot about strengths on this show. There are other methods of coaching that work out there, but what is your particular, do you have one set in stone way that you approach that, or do you use a variety of different ways?
We use a variety of different ways. We have a new completely revamped coaching program that we'll talk about in a minute. But in terms of pulling for who do you want to be? We do start with strengths. We start with strengths. We start with restorying some of your past stories, coming up with new versions, sort of looking at things from a different perspective. And we love to have women actually use their imagination. Like Hannah has this technique she likes to ask women to do, where you spend a week just taking pictures or looking for images, something that sparks your interest, something that you might want to incorporate as sort of art material for who you might want to become, and so we have lots of different ways. We do some envisioning, some imagining yourselves at 80, at 100, and then moving back. Just we do a lot of play around this.
And there's also, it's a lot of taking, we have lots of experience. We've accomplished a lot. So it's looking through and saying, what have we gotten that we can bring forth with us? What are the things that we'll bring along, and what are the things that we're going to create new? And so it is a lot about that process as well.
Yeah.
I think that women who are at this time of transition in their lives are ready to get off. They've lived enough time to know that they don't want to go there. They don't need another job. They don't need to, it's a way of beingness that we are looking for. And it doesn't have to do with money. It has to, none of that matters. It's a way of who we want to be, but we don't know necessarily that that's what to call it, but we're really ready for it at that time. Don't you think?
I absolutely agree. And I also think, you mentioned strengths. I think a lot of times women have lost sight of their own strengths. And so it's also that process of sort of figuring out what are those strengths, how can I carry that with me, how can I use them in a new way. Maybe they've been caregiving strengths, but now I want to use them in a way that feels really different. So I would agree with you, Rhonda.
Mm-hmm.
And if you think about it, for much of our growing up, whether we were really conscious of it or not, we had in our imagination someone that we might be becoming, or a role model that we might be, moving towards. And what Hannah and I realized too is around 50, 60, that's sort of like it's sort of like the stage went a little dark, but I can't picture anything but, someone sick or someone really old or someone, I don't know, like the artistry of growing up sort of was losing its magic. So we really want to help women get excited about that again, to really, you really can create who you want to be.
Sure.
You mentioned imagination and that you guys like to kind of play and everything. Why is that so important? I mean, we talk, like I said, we talk about strengths. We talk about there's other tools out there, but it seems like that's a different approach in really getting women to touch into their imagination in that way.
Well, one of the things we found was a real lack of imagination for women and aging. Like, what could they be? They had a very small framework of the ideas that they thought were out there for them. And so part of it is helping us. If you think of as a child, you try on all these roles and these things that in play that give you a way to sort of practice and start to think about what do you want to be in the future. And so that's what we want to tap into.
And
isn't that funny? Let me just say this. Isn't that funny? Because when we're little bitty, 3-4 years old, what do you want to be?
Yeah,
right.
Always.
It's
always
a what? Yeah. But then we can't answer that question when we get beyond. And I think it's because we get so wrapped up in that drive to survive that we forget we forget what it even feels like, or what it is like to thrive.
Right.
Yes. And social structures that are ageist. We have a lot of ageism. Mm-hmm. We have a lot of ageism inside of each of us, a lot of implicit and cultural ageism, sexism, racism. All of these isms kind of constrict who we believe we could be, or what we dare to try, or what we even in our minds imagine. And we want to sort of stretch that, make that a little more elastic, and we'll see what we can come up with. It's exciting. Plus, there's a whole bunch of research that certainly for children who are able to imagine their future selves, imagine who they'd want to be, what they want to do, 20 years later, when they're assessed, they're happier, they're doing better. Like, it's just really important. We're very, that's who we are as a species. We're always imagining something that hasn't been before. And that's how we pull ourselves forward. And that's how we've survived, really. I mean, that's our magic is I think. I mean, I don't just think, I think it's pretty much proven. Otherwise, we would have been, if we weren't so cunning and smart and creative, we would have been dead a long time ago. Right.
Right.
So I have to ask, because you all specialize with women and I'm the minority here today, does the same approach work with men, or have you looked into that at all? Or is this something specifically that works better for women?
We've actually had a man attend one of our workshops, and he said he didn't realize when he was coming that that's what it was. And I said, it isn't gender oriented what we're talking about. It's really, but I think initially we felt that particularly for women, because of the situation of women over 50 and the opportunities have become very slim pickings for women, we felt that it was important to kind of make that invitation, particularly to women at the time.
Sure, I understand.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we started out talking about menopause also,
right.
which is really a big part of a woman over 50's life. But we aren't intentionally.
It's part of men's lives too, if they're married.
And we aren't intentionally leaving men out. We aren't, except it does. It's interesting because we have a lot of workshops and we go around the table and one after another woman, like I would say out of 10 in the workshop, 3 maybe, Hannah, whose husbands have just left them for a younger woman.
Right.
It's like
Very consistently here.
Sometimes even 4 or 5 women out of 10, I'm saying, and it's just, I guess somebody says, well, why do men do that? Well, they can, because young women are interested in older men. I mean, older women, I don't know. So we just sort of had a special sympathy for women, probably because we are women and very self-involved.
Yeah. And initially, the research that we were finding there is the rise in eating disorders of women over 50. I mean, we can go down the negatives, which we kind of don't like. High depression, increase in the suicide rate of women over 50. So there was a reason that we sort of felt that women in particular needed a voice out there sort of championing their future. So.
We had one man on our podcast.
Yes,
Jason,
we did.
And we got a few complaints from the women, but we don't intend to leave them out. I don't think the way for us to evolve is to be in a little silo.
Well, and I was by no means suggesting that you were being sexist by not dealing with men. I was just curious if the imagination, working in that concept was something that functioned with men as well. And I think it probably depends on the person as well. I mean, it seems like a lot of men are not able to get in touch with their imagination anymore as they get older. And, I like to think that because I work in a creative industry and I try to be creative, that I can still do that. And I can still imagine myself doing some great things, even though I will be 50 this year. And I still got a lot of big plans ahead of me that I somewhat outlandish at 50 years old, probably. So
good. Outlandish is the way to go.
Yeah, absolutely. The bigger, the better, I think.
That's right?
But not everybody, a lot of people wind up in this space. What you're talking about is they wind up in this space of woundedness through, not necessarily it could have been suddenly, right? I mean, I would say no fault of their own, but that may not be true, right? Because there's always enough blame to go around to everyone. So. But they've got to be open and ready to go to be done with all of that.
It's a part of the work, right? I mean, I think that takes some imagination too. Imagining yourself coping differently, emerging from trauma or loss or despair. It does. I think that imagination comes in when life really, presses on you, puts you down, that's when we have to use a little fiction.
Right.
When the real story is just not working, right?
Right. Exactly. Ladies, we are going to step out for a minute and take a time out and hear from our sponsor if I can figure out how to work the technology on the back end.
Let me handle it, Rhonda. You got it all going on. Hey, we want to tell you that our show today is brought to you by soar.com. You're still putting off that dream job. If you've ever wondered how to ask for a raise or promotion, but you're not sure how to do that, maybe you're looking for a total career change or to reinvent yourself after retirement, we have good news for you. It's 2020. It's going to be your year. It's not enough to live. We deserve to thrive in all areas of our lives. And Coach Talk TV is all about connecting you to a coach that can get you to the next level of your journey. You can find a coach that'll meet all of your needs by going to soar.com. And that is where you can find Rhonda as well, and many of the other coaches that we will have on the show with us this week. All have profiles there on soar.com. And so we encourage you, go to soar.com to find the coach to help you live your best life.
Hey, Jason,
Yes.
that was almost smooth.
Almost.
Very well done.
I was to say, you've got that advertising voice. It's great.
Yeah,
I know. I was just laughing about the technology because everything's so new, and I'm like, hey, let me see if I can figure out how to work this.
Right.
So let me ask you this, ladies. Is it hard to ask women who are 50, 60, 70 to think about their future selves? I think that we get that sensation of time. There ain't much of it left, you know?
Yeah.
So, you know, fill us in on that and what that looks like.
You want to take it, Sil? Or you want?
Sure. Is it hard? Well, you know what? It is. It doesn't come naturally, because you reach, like Hannah and I are in our 60s now, and it's really not, it's not the intuitive thing to say like, oh, I can't wait for 70, 80. I wonder who I'll be. But I think I've come around to be very excited about that, really. And I think it would serve us all, since when you're 50, you're going to live probably another 50 years if you're lucky, right? So 50 more years with no vision or no future aspiration, or no, you know, for some that may be fine. Personally, as a psychologist, I don't think it's, I think that we really, our well-being, our mental and physical well-being really requires us to be looking towards something, working towards something, creating something.
We are living until we're not. And
Yeah.
so, you know, in other words, even if it means tomorrow or next week or next month, I think it's important to think future.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, Benjamin Franklin said once, and I'm paraphrasing because I don't know the exact quote, but he said something like, many men live to 37, but we bury them at 73. You know, it's like they stop living,
right?
Stop growing, stop developing, stop creating,
right?
And they just stop. This is one of the reasons why I don't like the word retirement. It's like, what?
Right.
What does that even look like? It doesn't look like stopping.
Yeah, exactly.
No,
you know,
no.
It looks like finding something else to do as, you know, as powerfully as I can. And I think that that's where your work starts, is opening up that space for women to go, wow, hold on a minute.
Yeah.
It's not over till it's over. And I got
right.
to grow, learn, train, teach, discover today.
Yep. Yes.
Where's the angels singing?
Well, why would you want to get out of bed, truthfully, if you didn't have anything to go towards? You know?
Don't. I mean, that's why I always.
We have to let Jason do his thing. Hang on a
Yeah.
minute.
Okay.
Hang on.
Where is it?
There we go.
Oh, that's the angels singing? Yeah.
I love it.
Okay. Cue Jason. Angels. Thank you. Okay. I'm sorry for the interruption, Celia. Go ahead.
It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
No, I don't even remember. I just think two things. I was going to talk about two different studies. Martin Seligman had done a study where he had people carry their phones, and like they were pinged like every hour, and they had to type in what they were thinking about. And I don't remember the exact percentage, but it's something like 80% of the time the people were future oriented, thinking about the future. We are future oriented. It's really interesting to me that much of psychotherapy focuses on the past. I don't think that's the way to go. I think it's nice to understand our story, and certainly if you have trauma, you want to get in touch with that and the feelings around that. But the real change comes from focusing on the future. And that one, plus this study with the nuns, these nuns who lived to be into their hundreds, donated their bodies and their brains to research. And all of them, it turned out, had brains that they should have had full-blown Alzheimer's, you know, and they had other problems, plaque in the heart, tumors. None of it manifested into actual illness. The reason this is just a hypothesis, is because they got up every day in their 90s and went out to feed starving children. They had something to do. They had purpose. They had a mission. They had a vision of who they were and why they were, you know?
So is it as much as being futuristic, or is it more having a purpose for your life that is the key?
Hannah's got futuristic as her number one strength, so I'll turn that over to her. Yeah.
I think it's actually a mixture of both. I think it's having the ability to think forward and imagine a future and to anticipate, but I also think it's having a sense of purpose. a reason to reach towards something, a reason to get out of bed, a reason to connect with people. And it doesn't need to be a world, change the world. It can be being the best grandparent you want to be, or connecting with your neighbor. It doesn't, but a reason to get going and a reason to be out in the world is part of what helps.
Because purpose tends to be future oriented, right?
Yeah.
It pulls us into the future, our purpose.
Right.
It drives us into moving forward, like you say, because you got to go out and be purposeful.
Right.
I mean, even if it's getting up out of bed, it's
or even if it's writing a book by yourself, it's the purpose of doing it. It's I got to finish this. I have something to say. That's purpose.
Yeah, I think that's a lot of people as they get older, they start to lose that and then don't have any sense. I don't know whether the days yawn or whether they speed up in that case.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know either, but I do know that, part of it is a social problem too, is that we actually the culture has a crisis of imagination as to the role of an 80 or 90-year-old person in society too, so we got a lot of work to do around that. But Hannah and I look forward to, we figure we've found the perfect career coaching as we age, and we can't wait till we're in our 90s showing up at groups and let's make our future selves,
No, I love that. And that's what it is you twisted your own plots so that you could help others thicken their plots, and twist their own. And so that's just a beautiful gift, and wow, what opportunities and possibilities women who can grow through this new transitional stage in their life, I think.
Right.
Because it is sort of a transition.
Absolutely. But every time you choose something to move forward towards, it brings you energy and it brings enthusiasm.
Yeah. And, we say 50, but it really could be 45. It could be 62. It's whatever.
70.
Yeah. It's
70.
depending upon what's going on in your life, because
that's right.
Some people are very involved, purposeful with their grandkids. And then all of a sudden, there's something that changes or that gradually happens that moves you to a different place. And it is reimagining what's possible, because otherwise, here's how I look at it. Ageism is going to get you. If you don't, if you don't create a new future for yourself, male, female, none of that matters really, Jason, right?
Right.
But if you don't create something new for the future, then ageism is really going to get you, which means you're going to get old.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I think you can culturally look at that. I mean, you can look at Hollywood, and I mean, there are some actors that have been able to hold on. You've got your Clint Eastwoods and Harrison Fords of the world, but for the most part, and I just say this because of my background in television. I mean, it's not like I'm getting, people aren't beating my door down to put me on TV anymore. When I was on in my 20s and early 30s and that sort of thing. So that's just one little microcosm. But I mean, I think you have to constantly be willing to reinvent yourself and look at the other opportunities that are out there. Of course, I have adaptability very high. My futuristic isn't that high, but I'm very adaptability is my number 2 strength. And so, I'm always willing to kind of bounce around and try different things and look at new directions. But I think everybody in general needs to be willing to do that, because at some point the music's going to stop and you're going to have to sit down and there's not going to be a chair for you, and you got to figure out what to do next.
Yeah, that can happen at any age, right?
Yeah, you're gonna have to sing and dance. We started a new coaching program that we just barely piloted it. I mean, we started in January, so I'm excited about this, and we're calling it 12 Women, 12 Months, and we have 12 women, 13 actually. We have a baker's dozen this year, and they have to pick a project, something to do in their that they're going to complete in this year. And it has to be something that's a stretch, takes them outside of their comfort zone. And we're working as a group, helping each woman make this project come true. And along the way, we decided we were tired of talking. Hannah and I have been sitting in a chair talking for a combined 60 years or something. We're like, we got to get everybody out there doing things,
Right.
And that's when I think you really learn how to use your strengths. You
Mhm.
really learn how to watch your mindset. You have to, you have to be creative with obstacles. You have to build some resilience. So we're really excited about this,
Yeah,
So,
you get to learn that new way of being
Yeah.
that
Yes.
you discover throughout that process. How fun is that?
Right. It's
Yeah.
also building this community, this cohort that will support each other and provide encouragement and ideas and keep the momentum going, which I think is really fun to see.
Sure, you bet. Let's take a moment. I'm going to turn it over to you, Jason, for our next ad.
All right, we just want to thank everybody for watching today and tell you that today's broadcast of Coach Talk TV has been brought to you by Baffrey Family Coaching, an incredible certified coach. If you're a parent, you know that parenting is hard. Kids do things that we don't understand, that we see as problematic, but it's really our own inability to understand how they're functioning that's the real problem. But there is hope. The new Incredible Kids Assessment is now available for parents to find the joy in parenting again. You can learn the secret to unlocking your child's potential, gain a better understanding of who your child is, and how to parent to their unique gifts. If you're ready to understand yourself, your children, and how to guide them to success, simply find Baffrey Coaching on Facebook. Go to our Facebook page.
Right there, Facebook, Baffrey Coaching. There you go. Good.
Good. Sounds good.
We're working through our challenges, Jason, and learning our ropes here. Well, let me ask you this, because I feel like this has to happen. You just look out in the world and you see that it happens, is that there are some people who just don't want to change.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're stuck, they're miserable, and what?
Right. That's we see a lot of that, Hannah and I. Or what we see a lot of, and this is the thing, and is people coming in because they know something has to change, but their belief is the change has to happen outside of them. Somebody else has to change, or something has to change in the world, or and that, as we know, that's one of the, I think, most important roles of a coach, is to help people see, put the focus back on you. What can you do differently? How can you think differently? How can you respond differently? And so it's the same thing. Many women, we meet women, Hannah and I, that say, I don't want to twist my plot, or I'm fine. The one I hear a lot is, it's my time. It's my me time. It's my time now. And I don't want to do anything but sit on the couch. But quite often, like I always tell Hannah, like I'll be at a dinner and some woman will say, like, I don't have issues about being older, and I don't need twisting the plot. And then they'll like hit me up in the bathroom later and saying, can I call you on the side? So I don't know. I mean,
That's
I think,
interesting. Shame in that somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say more often than not, we hear people who are just saying, yeah, I'm restless. Something needs to be different. I'm ready for something. I don't know what it is, but I'm ready. I want to make a change. And that's really, I would say, more of what we hear in terms of twisting the plot, for sure.
Yeah, I wonder, and I'm going to go back to what Jason had said earlier. I wonder if that's the difference between men and women. I think men are less likely to say something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Don't you? Just maybe I'm
I
know I'm
Less
stereotyping.
likely to say I'm looking for a change?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, and some of that may just be the pressure of, they feel like the burden of the family is on them, and so they feel like they're stuck in a lot of ways, and maybe that's why they're unwilling to look at making a change, or they're willing to kind of suffer through because they feel almost a martyrdom there, that I'm trudging through this career that I don't enjoy and I'm getting no joy from, because I have to take care of my family, and what I really want to do is go open a bar somewhere, but I can't do that because I have to, I've been in this job for 15 years or 25 years, and I can't leave now. So
Mhm.
I'm not that way, so I don't know that that's the case. But I mean, I feel like that would be something that men would, would hold them back from really looking at the opportunities to change and using their imagination to see what the other possibilities are.
I think men and women are quick to come up with all the reasons that they can't, and understandably so. I don't mean that as a judgment, but I think we all feel kind of stuck in what we know, and it's safe. Making change can feel scary, can feel like a risk,
We worked hard to get to our expertise, right?
Right.
We worked hard to get where we are. We don't want anybody knocking us off our thrones,
Right.
but
We end up settling though.
Yeah, we can get a little rigid. Yeah. So
Yuck.
Yeah.
That doesn't feel good. I'm like, keep on keeping on, people. Wow. Well,
I think the roles for women have been in flux for a while, though, and so we are also a little more comfortable in this idea of changing and growing and reimagining ourselves. I think it's probably going to come up now more than ever for men because things are changing.
Sure.
That more and more men are going to say, "Hey, let me rethink this. Is this going the way I really want? Do I get some say in this?" Because sexism does work both ways. Really, it does. I mean, maybe men have had more power, but they've also been, I think, trapped in it a lot. So yeah. So we'll see. I think a lot of things are, going to shake up for all of us.
I think so.
Cecilia, Hannah, thank you so much for being with us today. How can people find more about you and connect with you?
They can go to our website called twistingtheplot.com, and you can contact us through there, or you can listen to our podcast called Twisting the Plot, where we tell the stories of women who are facing change, in the middle of change, or just on the far side of change. And we diversify the story of what it means to be a woman over 50.
We're also on the SOAR platform. We are on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter. We're everywhere. And we love to hear stories. We love to hear from women. Yes. We love for women to send us your story and your plots that have twisted and whatever anecdotes you have to share. So
I love that about you guys. Thank you so much. We just
thank you guys. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you both. It was terrific.
And we'll see you in the green room later.
Okay.
Ladies.
Well, you didn't just sit back there and run the controls after all.
Oh, no. Fascinating conversation. Very interesting. I really like their approach, and I really love that concept of using your imagination to develop your future and kind of find out who you are instead of what you are. So really a lot of good information that I think is applicable to anybody. So
fantastic.
Man, day 3 of the Discover Coaching series. This has been really fun, and we have more to come over the next couple of days.
We absolutely do. And let me go over and see. I don't have it up in front of me. I believe we have, if I am not mistaken, we have Jo Self herself.
All right. That'll be awesome.
Let me double check that. Let's see. I'm pretty sure that's what we're doing. Jo Self. Yes. Tomorrow.
4 o'clock tomorrow on our Facebook page for Coach Talk TV or on the YouTube channel. Go subscribe to the Coach Talk TV YouTube channel. And then if you're watching us on one of Rhonda's specific Facebook pages right now, please go over and watch us on the Coach Talk TV. I don't want to take them away from you, but I want to get more audience over there. You know what I'm saying? Go watch us on Coach Talk TV on either one of those locations, and give us a like if you haven't already to keep up with everything that we've got going on here.
There you go. You will find me there.
All right.
Coach Talk TV. Thanks for joining us, everyone.
Absolutely. And for Rhonda Boyle, I'm Jason Baffrey. This is Coach Talk TV, where we have coaching conversations that matter. We will see you tomorrow at 4 o'clock.